Why? It's a simple question with no simple answers. We've made it through dark times before, and I want to have faith, but I still wonder, why?
There are some things in life you can't do alone, like have a party, wrestle, have a sack race.
Step aside, fools, I got this. Okay, I have it. Yeah.
Play Marco Polo.
Marco! Fish out of water!
Ride a teeter-totter.
Oh.
Get engaged.
Will you marry me?
Yes!
Move a heavy, awkward piece of furniture.
Fingers. Too slow.
Or
Too fast.
water ski. Some things should not be attempted without the help of others. Your spiritual journey is one of them. When it comes to that, we're definitely better together.
Giving is easy and safe with our giving platform powered by SecureGive. Giving can be done from anywhere with your computer, tablet, or your mobile device. To give, simply go to the church's website, create a new account, or log in with your existing account. Simply select one-time or recurring gift. Select your donation amount, enter your payment info, and then confirm your information. Visit our website and click on the Giving button to learn more. Maybe you're an iOS or Android user. If so, you have an additional opportunity to streamline your giving with the free Secure Give app. Simply search Secure Give in the App Store or Google Play Market. Once downloaded, open the app and search our church name to save as your home organization. Just like with online giving, you can create a new account or use your existing Secure Give account to log in, give, and connect with us. But wait, did you also know there is now a way to participate in generosity in a way that's as easy as texting a friend? With Text to Give, you can give using your mobile device by following these 3 easy steps. Number 1, text the keyword and amount you'd like to give to our church's Text to Give number. Number 2, follow the series of prompts and set up your Secure Give Text to Give account. Here, choose your desired payment method. And finally, number 3, save the number as a contact in your phone for future use. Text to Give only takes seconds to use and is the perfect way to connect with our ministry through giving.
Like the wind, unseen but present, moving and felt. Like the seasons, changing at exactly the right time. Like the pull of gravity that keeps me firmly planted to the ground beneath my feet. Your faithfulness. The same yesterday, today, and forever. Immovable, unshakable. Your love is steadfast and you keep every one of your promises. You will never leave and you never forsake the ones you love. You finish everything you start and never have you spoken a word in vain. As undeniable as the sun, rising day in and day out without fail, and just as certain as the setting of that same sun, you are faithful. to the educators who taught us how to read, how to learn, and how to make a difference, to the farmers who supply our world and give us the food we need, to the coaches who show us how to work together to achieve our goals, to the medical workers who give health and healing to the hurting, to the architects and builders who create spaces where people can come together, to the artists and musicians who create beauty and inspire us to do great things, to the officers and soldiers who protect our families, our cities, and our nation, to the pastors and church workers who care for our souls, to all who labor, we want you to know your work matters. It matters to you. It matters to us. And most importantly, it matters to God.
Well, hey, good morning and welcome to North Point Church. We are so glad you're joining us for this Labor Day weekend, although maybe you're watching this later on in the week or maybe even months or years later. But anyway, we're so glad you're here. I hope you're saying hi to each other, and I hope you're going to work really, really hard this week because it is Labor Day weekend. No, I really hope you're going to take a break. You know, we work hard, but it's time to just relax at times and enjoy just the sun and the breeze and the birds chirping and hanging around with each other. So I hope you're going to picnics, and I hope you're just having fun with family and friends this weekend. So if you're newer with us, we want to say welcome. We're so glad you're joining with us. And we got a gift for you. It's a book by Andy Stanley called How Good is Good Enough. We hope you'll grab this, and you can just let us know online. Just say, hey, I'd love to get that book, and we'll mail that out to you. So let us know. Please do that. If you are supporting this ministry, we are so grateful because you guys really make everything happen around here. You allow us to come online to all of you. You allow us to have a place to meet and to record all this. So thank you so much for that. So if you'd like to give, it's easy through Secure Give. And it's that online tab right up there. If you're online there on our online platform, you can find Secure Give. If not, just click on our website and you can give that way. So thank you so much. So let's give thanks to God and start out this great weekend. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for just a weekend that sort of wraps up our summer, but Lord, there's still so much to look forward to. Fall's a great season, and we asked for a delay of winter around here in New York because that could come quick for us. But Lord, this weekend, may we just enjoy the time with family, friends. May we love just hanging out with each other. May we encourage, inspire, and Lord, may we help to just really build into other people around us. May people leave our presence just thinking, wow, I just feel inspired, I feel enriched because they connected with us. May you help us to be those kind of people, Lord, that are just inspirers to others. Lord, we pray as we think about just a Labor Day weekend and just our works and our jobs, and thank you for the blessing of work. Thank you for the blessing of our jobs, our careers. Lord, help us to continue to be diligent in the work you have set before us, whatever that is. And most of all, help us to be diligent in sharing our faith with other people that they may find your Son, Jesus Christ. And it's in his name we pray. Amen.
broken and the hopeless. Your name is faithful in the battle, glory in the struggle. Mighty won't let us down or fail us. Your name is power. Your name is power. When you speak, you scatter darkness. Light arrives in heaven open. Holy Spirit, let us see it. When you speak, the church awakens. We believe the change is coming. Holy Spirit, let us see it. When you speak, you scatter darkness. Light arise in heaven open. Holy Spirit, let us see it. When you speak, the church awakens. We believe the change is coming. Let us see it. Your name is power over darkness, freedom for the captive, mercy for the broken and the hopeless. Your name is faithful in the battle, glory in the struggle. Mighty won't let us down or fail us. Your name is power over darkness. Your name is power in the chaos. Your name is power. Came to the world you created, trading your crown for a cross. Willingly died, your innocent life paid the cost. Counting your status as nothing, the King of all kings came to serve, washing my feet, covering me with your love. Give more of you, it's less of me. Take everything. Yes, all of you is all I need. Take everything. My life and my treasure, the one that I
Why? It's a simple question with no simple answers. Why now? Why this? Why me? Is God even here? Is He listening? How can we know? We've made it through dark times before, and I want to have faith, but I still wonder, why?
So what kind of crazy habits did you have as a kid growing up? I remember when I was little, I used to twirl my hair. Now, I can't do that because it's too short anymore, but I don't know, just this habit thing I used to do. I used to bite my nails. That was pretty bad, too. What did you do? Did you used to, pick your nose? Did you pick on your little brother? Did you leave your wet towel around? And mom and dad would always get on your case because it's like, oh, why are you doing this, some of the habits that we had as a kid were bad. Some of them were, not very wise, But most, hopefully, we outgrew them, unless, of course, you still leave the wet towel around and you're driving your roommate or your spouse nuts. But now that we're older, okay, now we have others, and we've tried to break them. Maybe you lose your temper once in a while. It's like, man, I wish I didn't do that, Or maybe you curse, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I said that again, Or maybe you open that bag of chips and, you get to the bottom very quickly, or that bag of M&Ms. Or maybe you're scrolling through the internet and you're just wasting time or getting to things you shouldn't see. Maybe you get lost on Facebook and, you're just like one post after another, and then you get discouraged because everybody has this wonderful life, man, mine's just boring, Maybe you drive like a maniac, especially when somebody cuts you off and you're like, What kind of habits have you tried to break? And you want to stop, you really do. You want to stop, but you can't. And your theme song is Hard Habit to Break. And no, it's not the Chicago song about a girl. Welcome back to our series called Ever Wonder Why. And what we've been asking are the tough questions. And we ask God because God's big. He can handle our questions. It's not like He's going to get upset with us or be like, oh, you spiritual midget. God's okay. So don't run away from your doubts. When you got questions for God or about life, don't run away from God. Run towards God and question Him and ask and pray. Now, we all got habits, and we all got habits that we want to break, and we've tried really hard, but it doesn't work. And sometimes we prayed really hard, and we're like, God, would you please just take this away and take this away? And so we wonder, and today we're going to ask the question, God, why can't I stop? And we've tried. I know I have, right? I've tried where it's like, hey, I'm just going to have a little dish of ice cream. I'm just going to put one scoop, and then, and then it's like, well, then another scoop. And, okay, some of our habits are worse than that, right? Sometimes we blow up, and that's just our norm. It's like we get to a certain point, and we blow up, and we get angry, and that anger's real, and it's directed at our spouse or our kids or our coworkers, and we're trying to break that, and we don't know how. We're surfing the internet, and we find out, man, it's like hours later watching stupid videos about cats or something like that, Or we're, again, getting into stuff that maybe we shouldn't be getting into. Or maybe we realize, hey, man, I've been wasting hours every day and then tens of hours every week on Netflix and binging on one series after another series after another. Or maybe you go into the refrigerator and you're like, hey, I'm just gonna munch on something, and then before long, half the refrigerator's gone because you just didn't have enough to satisfy you, And we want to stop, but we can't. And then we're like, why, God, can't I break this? Why did I do that again? Why can't I stop? So I want to make a suggestion, okay, that we have the right intention, but the wrong strategy. We're trying to change, and we have all the good intentions to do it, but we're trying to change it in the wrong way. Now, I want to be upfront with you as we start this whole thing, because here's the thing: we can't fix this in 30 minutes, okay? That's about all I usually take, okay? So we can't fix it, and the reason is because you're just too complicated, okay? And I'm complicated too, but we're all just too complicated because there's too many factors that are at play. For example, there's the practical side. Maybe you got 3 kids that are running you here and there and everywhere, or maybe you're running them here and there and everywhere. Maybe you got 1 off in college or 2 off in college now, and it's like, wow. And you're like, I just wish that I could set aside time to read or to work out. But the practical side is life is just crazy. Maybe you want to eat healthy, but you have too easy access to the wrong foods. You just open a fridge, it's like, oh, that looks good. Or you open a freezer and there's 3 kinds of ice cream. Or you open up the cabinets, it's like, oh, there's chips. And so the practical side is you want to eat healthy, but it's not easy. Maybe you're oversleeping and you can't understand why. Or you wake up tired and you're like, man, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And the practical side is, well, you stayed up late watching that Hulu series, Or maybe your alarm clock broke, or you haven't figured out how to fix your iPhone on how to set the time. I don't know. Then there's the emotional side. It's a long day and it's been stressful, and man, you just come home and you're like, I don't want to do anything. I'm too tired, and I really could just use a beer or a glass of wine, or this is why you're so angry, because the emotions of the day. You want to eat healthy, but those emotions kick in. For me, Mom used to give me ice cream. That was a treat as a kid, And it was like, wow, and so there's an emotional side to it. It's not just the ice cream. There's that, wow, this feels good. It brings back memories. Or chips and dip. Wow. Oh my goodness. That was like the Saturday night treat when Mom and Dad would go out on a date. And we'd make the chips and dip, and we were excited for it, So it brings comfort. It becomes a comfort food because all those memories just come rolling back, So you see, you have to understand there's emotions there. And then there's the relational part, because, we all have wounds from the past. And that affects the present, right? And we all carry emotional baggage. Did you know if you fly today, and you probably fly once in a while, right? But most airlines are now charging for you to carry a bag with you. And it's like, where did that come from? I mean, do you not think we need clothes where we're getting them? And that should just be built in, right? But anyway, it's getting costly to to carry luggage, right? Well, it's costly to carry baggage too. When you're carrying baggage from your past, you carry that into your work, and you carry it into your marriage, and you carry it into your relationship with your kids, and you carry it into relationships with your friends. And then if you hang around with unhealthy people, and you surround yourselves with the drama club, and I don't mean because you're in some local community theater. I mean, you're hanging around with people with the wrong mindset, it's almost impossible to change. And then there's the physical part. I'm short. It has disadvantages, okay? And maybe you don't relate to that because you're taller, but I've always been shorter, and that has some side effects, Maybe you had an injury when you were in school. And maybe it goes way back to, high school, the early days, and your knee has just not been the same. Maybe you have some kind of sickness. Maybe you got a chemical or hormonal imbalance. Maybe it's just nutrition. It's amazing how much, if you're lacking vitamin D, you're going to lack energy. I mean, there's all kinds of things. We're so complicated. And see, I just took 5 minutes telling you how complicated you are, right? But at the heart of all of this, all those things, is the spiritual side of this. We are spiritual beings, and although we have those other components, at the heart of it is the spiritual. And some of you might be thinking, well, but I'm not really a spiritual person. It doesn't matter, okay? God made us, and God made us not just physical beings, He created us as spiritual beings. And you can't separate the two, whether you believe in a God or not. And what happens is we're trying to meet a spiritual need with something other than God. Why can't I change? Well, let me suggest this. You're focusing on the poison of religion. Now, you're thinking, look, I'm not religious. And that's good, okay, because I'm not religious, and Jesus didn't like religion. But we get religious without even being religious, okay? What happens is, because there's a spiritual component to our lives, it doesn't mean that we don't slip into that spiritual side of religion, okay? Religion is simply this. It's our attempt to earn God's approval by following all the rules. Somehow we're trying to fill a void by trying to keep everything in line. We're trying to please God even if we don't really believe in God, but inwardly there's that spiritual side, and it sounds crazy, but it's true. Now, here's the thing. The good news is that there's hope, okay? The bad news, and I like what Darren Hardy said, and if you haven't read anything by Darren Hardy, you should. But he wrote this. He said, if you want to sail your life in a new direction, you have to first pick up the anchors of bad habits that have been weighing you down. We're going to have to pull up that chain. And that anchor can be heavy, but sometimes the chain has been hanging down there so long with the anchor, and it's been down there 10 years or 15 years or 40 years, and we got that many years of a habit. And in order to move forward, we're going to have to pull that up. We're going to have to uproot that. Today what I want to do is I want to start with a verse that's not that common. It's found in one of Paul's letters. He was writing to Titus. Titus is one of the church leaders. He's one of the future pastors, and he's actually pastoring at that moment. But Paul is writing to him to encourage him, to inspire him. And he writes this. He says, for the grace of God has appeared. It's here, God's grace. What this grace does is amazing. Listen as Paul goes on. He says this, for the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people. If you're a follower of Jesus Christ, you understand, and this is probably where our minds go, because like, oh yeah, this is cool. You know, Jesus came and he died on the cross, and it's not by my works. I'm in a right relationship because of my faith in Jesus Christ, okay? It's because of what Jesus did on the cross, not what I did, right? So it's salvation by grace, not by works. Because actually the word grace, it's the word charis, and it's unmerited goodwill and favor of God. That's what grace is. All God, all his favor, all his power, all his strength, we can't earn it. But somehow what we think is now that I've given my life to Jesus, now that I've trusted in the grace that God offers through the cross, you know, I'm not trying to earn my way to heaven and all that stuff, because you can't. And if you don't understand that, then you need to grasp that. But if you've gotten to that point, it's like, okay, I'm good because I've trusted in Jesus Christ. But then somehow what happens is we think, okay, but now that I got heaven, that's all good and we're all good. But now it's up to me. Now I have to try hard to live a good life. And I'm trying to do good, and I'm trying to check all the boxes so that God will say, oh, that's awesome, you're doing a great job. And so, I check the church box, and I check the serve box, and I check the tithe. That paycheck comes in, and I give to God first, 10%, right to him. I read my Bible. I'm investing in the lives of other people because I want to see people come to faith in Jesus Christ. I want to see people grow in their faith. So we check the boxes. And here's what we need to understand. The grace that saves you is also the grace that sustains you. That salvation doesn't stop. It continues. That's the power of the cross. It continues. It's not just, oh, wow, now I get to heaven. Listen as Paul goes on. He says this. He says, for the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions. To live self-controlled and upright and godly in the lives of this present age. Grace is not just a ticket to heaven. Grace is what God offers to change us. Grace teaches us, well, what does it teach us? Grace teaches us to say, what did Paul write? No to ungodliness. Guess what? I don't have to do the things that are going to displease God. I don't have to do that. Grace teaches us to deny our worldly passions, which means, well, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Yeah, but everybody's doing it. We should just go along and it's okay because it's not so bad. And no, I don't have to. If I'm the only one who's not going with the crowd, that's okay. That's a good thing because I don't have to. Grace has given me power over that. Grace teaches us to what? To live a life of self-controlled, to live upright, to live a godly life. It's grace. That's what God does. The grace that saves you is also the grace that sustains you. This is why, when Paul writes his letters, and if you're not in a habit of reading Paul's letters, you should. It's a great habit to get into. But Paul writes at times about another gospel. He said there's going to be people who come in and they preach a different gospel. They're living out a different gospel. Peter says, he goes, hey, there's going to be those who come along and they don't obey the gospel. Well, how do you do that? I thought it was just trusting in Jesus for your salvation. Yes, but it's so much more. The gospel work is what changes us. It's part of the good news of Jesus Christ. He says, look, I want your life to change. I don't want you just to say, okay, now I'm going to heaven. It's good. Life is better when you follow Jesus. And guess what? We get better at life. The problem that religion is this. The focus of religion is on the outward. It's on what looks good. It's on what the outside is. It's on, hey, if I check these boxes, then I'm good. And this is why Jesus had such a problem with the Pharisees. Listen to what he says to them. He says this. He says, woe to you teachers of the law. He says, you Pharisees, you hypocrites. You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but they are full of greed and self-indulgence. You're so worried about what other people are seeing that you're missing the most important. Then Jesus goes on. He literally calls them. He says, you blind Pharisees. He says, first clean the inside of the cup and the dish. Then the outside will be clean also. Religion is that outward focus of what others see, how I appear. And it's so easy to get into that mold that I gotta do this. I gotta look good. I gotta fix this. And so guess what? When somebody says, hey, shouldn't you stop? Maybe you've had a couple too many. It's like, I'm trying to stop drinking. I'm cutting down. I'm trying to quit smoking. I'm trying not to curse as much. Because what we just did and what we just blew is like, wow, I need to create this appearance that I'm trying to get better, right? Because I'm worried about the outward appearance. And so I'm going to say, hey, yeah, I'm trying. And we are. But it's not working, is it? The power of grace is inward. If this, whatever this is, right? Can't stop cursing. I can't stop getting angry. I can't stop overeating. If this is happening on the outside, it's because there's a problem on my inside. This is why Paul preached the gospel. Yes, salvation, eternity with God forever and ever. Awesome, right? But salvation goes so much deeper. So Paul prays this. This is a letter he writes to the church in Ephesus. And he's praying this for them. He says this, I pray that from his glorious, unlimited resources, he will empower you with inner strength through his Spirit. I'm praying that the inner strength of God will change you. It'll create something new that when the inside starts to change, outside will start to change. But if you're about the outside and the inside doesn't change, guess what? I'm trying to fix it. Because we're looking on the outward appearance only. For years I struggled with my weight. There's a physical component to that, okay? I wasn't feeling good. I was sick. There's an emotional component of that. Because you know what? When you feel sick, guess what? It affects your emotions, right? There's a relational component of that. There's a practical component of that. Okay, my kids will tell you, my freezer was filled with all different kinds of ice cream and I tried, and I did. I tried and I wanted more. And this is where I was, okay? I hit almost 197 at one point. And my belief was, I just can't change. And I try a little exercise and but it hurt. I don't know about you, but you get discouraged, right? And I tried to eat a little healthy, and then I didn't, And then I didn't want to, And then I try again, and I didn't want to. And the focus was on the outside. This is what I saw when I looked in the mirror, And honestly, I was embarrassed. And I didn't share that with a lot of people, but I was, and this time of year was a great season. you could throw a sweatshirt on. You know how much you could cover with a sweatshirt? And the mindset is like, okay, now I have till spring to worry about this, okay? Because I wear a sweatshirt all winter. You see, focusing on religion, the outward appearance, it just doesn't work. There was an inner belief inside of me that had to change. And it took a friend, who I've been friends with now for, 30 some years. And it took a friend that challenged me, and in the slightest way, I would have never expected it. But it challenged me, and when my belief changed, even in the slightest, it started a ripple effect, and it changed things. And I started to change. Things happened. It impacted my life. It changed my life. What did that? The inward grace and the power of God. And now, wow. Man, I could do things I couldn't do years ago. I'm doing fun activities that I was like, man, I don't know if I'll do that anymore, you know. It changed what I do with our kids. It changed what I do with my wife, Julie. You know, it's changed our marriage. It's just, you know, and I had tried, and I had tried, and I had tried, and I gave up, and I tried again, and then I'd give up again, and then I'd try again, and I tried again. Right, because religion says, try harder. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Try harder, try harder. And it's not that we don't need that. It's not that we don't need somebody kicking us in the pants and pushing us to move further. But it has to come from the inside. And that's God's department. That's God's grace. Grace says, trust more. If I want God's grace to work, then I have to let God work. What do you want to change? What are you tired of? Well, I tried to stop. I want to quit. Inward change starts with this. You are only as strong as you are honest. You're only as strong as you are honest. Why do you think Jesus asked the man who was crippled? He asked him, he said, do you want to get well? You know, I came across that verse, I don't even know how long ago, and I don't know how many times I read it, and all of a sudden it stuck to me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it literally, in a good way, it haunts my brain, okay? And I think about that, and when I'm struggling with something, I'm like, okay, I don't like this situation, I don't like what's happening, I'm not sure about this, I want to change it, and then the question pops in my mind, it says, do you want to get well? Do you want to get well, you know? Do I really want that to change? Do I really want to fix it? Or am I okay where it is? Do you want to get well? And so I pray by God's grace, I continue to ask myself that question in all kinds of areas of my life. And I pray that I have the courage to ask others that same question. Because honestly, there just are a lot of people who don't want to get well. And I hope that's not you. If we want, there is grace. And sometimes we got to ask for help. And seeking help is not a sign of a weakness. It's a sign of a strength. It's a sign of wisdom. Because we can't do it on our own. Why? Because we're complicated. There's a practical side, and there's an emotional side, there's a relational side, and there's a physical side. And we're complicated. Why can't I stop? Because you're trying to meet a need, to relieve a hurt, with something besides God's grace. You see, eating, for me, fills a void. An emotional, a physical void. And then I feel terrible. The other week, no exaggeration, just the other week, I stopped on the way home from North Point, just got done, I said, hey, I'm just going to stop at this food store, see if there's anything on sale, and grab a couple, maybe some chicken or beef or something. So I went there, and then I went down the wrong aisle. And you know how that's like. You go down the wrong aisle. And I went down the wrong aisle, and guess what? They had pints of ice cream on sale, and it was like half price. And I was like, I'll just get a pint, and maybe through the week, I just have a little bit here or there, And again, now I enjoy ice cream, and having a treat once in a while, that's fine, whatever. But I took that pint home, and no exaggeration, I said, oh God, I took the lid off. I said, I'm just going to have a couple scoops, right? I'm just going to eat a spoon, just a spoonful or two, And I took that pint into the living room, sat down and watched TV with my spoon. You know what happened? That whole pint went, man. It was gone. And I went back, I was like, And I didn't feel too good because I ate too much ice cream, and that's what happens. We eat sometimes to fill a void we hold on to, right? We hold on to things from the past. We hold on to stuff from the past because we're afraid of letting go. That hoarding mentality, that's where it comes from. We drink sometimes to numb the pain, not just because we enjoy the drink, but to numb a pain. We escape, right? We go out to play, we go take another trip, and it's not that those things aren't wonderful, and I love doing those things, but are we doing it to escape a situation? You're focusing on the poison of religion and forgetting the power of grace. It's not that we don't work hard. It's not that we don't try to let go of old bad habits. But what happens is, and we create new ones, okay? Very important. But when even when all the parts, right, the emotional, the physical, and all that kind of stuff, says no, right? We have to focus on the inward strength. Because the outward is not going to get us there. It's the power of the grace. Jesus came to save us. He did not just come to save us from what is yet to come. He came to save us from our present selves. Grace doesn't just forgive you from sin. Grace frees you from sin. He came to set prisoners free. So let's let him do that. Where do you want to be free? And instead of, God, why can't I change? Why can't I change? It's God, I'm asking for the grace and the power to change. So that God can work in our lives. So we can then say, hey, look how God has changed me. That's what he wants to show the world. That he is changing lives. Because we are letting him by his grace. And you know something that Paul shares that's so comforting? He says this, he says, the greater your sin, right? And some of us, man, we're like, you don't have any idea how bad this is, right? He's saying the greater it is, the greater God's grace. God's grace will never not be enough. He's God. And he could fix it. But we got to let go of our power and our strength, and we got to invite the grace and the power of Jesus Christ. Father, thank you so much that you not only went to the cross for our eternal salvation, but you went to the cross to save us from our present reality. That, Lord, you came to change lives. You came to set us free. So, Lord, right now, all of us, we all got stuff that is pulling us back and pulling us back. So, Lord, I'm asking for your grace and I'm asking for your power to help us to let go of the religion side of this, where we're trying to make up, we're trying to fix it, we're trying to look good. And help, Lord, to make that change inside of us that allows the outward to just happen. Change our hearts. Change our mindset that sometimes is stuck so far deep and anchored to so many different things. Will you just break those chains? Will you break that hold that the enemy has on us? And will you set us free by the power and the grace that comes from Jesus Christ, your Son? And we ask this in his name. Amen.